Hi guys, Luton here. So I haven't spoken about Overwatch for a while, but it's currently on sale for half price until January the 2nd. I played this game a ton when it first came out, and then it went to the back of my game queue for quite some time. Lately, I've been playing it again with a fresh look, and it's honestly been really enjoyable. Also, as with Siege, Overwatch's player base has only increased and continues to go up since release. That's a very good sign. And with only a few days left to save on the game, I wanted to give you guys an overview so you can check it out. Here's what it is and why it is worth considering. So Overwatch is really an FPS, battle arena, TF2-esque hero-focused game. If that sounds really nondescript, it's kind of because it is. I guess if I had to put a tag on it, I'd really call it like a hero shooter. You can play casually or competitively, but here's the thing. Competitive, for me anyway, generally seems pretty pointless. The only reason I would go in on it is because people can actually be more focused and more skilled, even if you're just playing as a pickup group. The actual rewards for playing also in the ranked games are actually really minimal, so it's one of those things that it's there if you want it, but it's totally optional. For me, I use Overwatch as a game to just casually pass the time with some really fun, colourful characters, great game mechanics, really solid gameplay, excellent performance, and an easy game to team up with people at any time of the day. It's also one of those games that you can just jump in and out of with very little commitment. It's not like you need to sit down and play it for hours and hours and hours and hours, although you probably will, but you can just jump in, grab a game for like 10 minutes, jump out again. You've got three main modes of capturing control points or a single control point, and also the classic escorting a payload through a level. There are other modes as well, but they're more fun game modes and they're not really the core. For someone coming into Overwatch new at this stage, as with something like League or Dota, it can be a bit intimidating because you see all these different heroes with different abilities and you wonder, what are they? Who should I choose? What is it all about? And gladly, Overwatch is also a game which is very easy to learn, but the classic, it's difficult to master. Almost anybody with a basic ability in gaming can play Overwatch, but understanding the hero counters, knowing when to make a play, regroup, push, use your ultimate, they're all things that come from just practicing and learning the game. The heroes make up four classes in Overwatch. You've got offense, defense, tank, and support. Offensive characters are just damage dealers, and this is balanced with them having low HP. Defense characters have special skills and can be used to make choke points or generally irritate the opposition. They may have turrets, traps, other gadgets. Tanks, as you'd expect, are high on HP and low on damage. They'll often have shields as well. Don't assume, though, that they're just there to sponge damage and not really do anything. A good tank in Overwatch is going to know when to be aggressive and use that extra HP to push the opposition back and even deal big damage. Support heroes have skills that heal or enhance your own team or affect the opposition negatively. These are some of the more tricky characters to play, but they're also the most vital. With the game having been out for well over a year at this point, it also has made significant additions in new heroes, new maps, and generally good balancing. Blizzard have always been a company who continue to support and add and improve their games, and it's why, for better or worse, WoW is still operational and populated despite being now 13 years old. It feels a lot longer than that, honestly. Getting started in Overwatch is really easy, as at any time in play you can use an overlay function which informs you of your hero's abilities, which is great for people learning or checking out new heroes. The controls are also kept really consistent across all the heroes, which means it's very easy to mentally wrap your head around their functionality, despite them all having vastly different playstyles, roles and actions. Really, when beginning the game, pick anybody you like, just stay with that hero for a bit, understand what they do in a basic way, and then move on. Once you've spent some time with the game and learning the heroes, the gameplay can get really intense, even in the random casual modes. From a design perspective, Overwatch is particularly good with its graphics, its character design, music, all at making you feel really hyped up and jubilant. This game is just a lot of fun in every way. It's a real joy actually to play. There are downsides though, as with all multiplayer games these days, and it's sad to say, it's often the case it does tend to be the age-old issue of just general ignorance. Overwatch, though, does try its best to encourage players to choose, for example, roles in your team to keep things balanced. During your hero selection, it's going to remind your team if you've got, say, too many snipers, not enough healers, no tank, not enough damage dealers, and so on. This doesn't mean people will listen, but they're trying at least. Another issue though is that in random play, people may also, for example, change up their hero after only a few deaths, and because you're playing randomly, they're not going to tell you. They might feel that they're not performing well or they're not comfortable, so they just switch up their hero as you can at any time. This can be really frustrating though if you thought you knew your team composition and then you look and discover that you actually now haven't got a healer or a tank, and that's why you've suddenly been wrecked several times over and you've wasted a lot of time. The game, though, does generally a reasonable, but not a great job of putting players together who should be at least a similar level of experience, but it often feels an imperfect system, as these things often are. The greatest pain is that if you go healer or tank, your DPS can let you down, and then vice versa. It's something you can't escape in random play, you just gotta roll with it. It is only quick play after all, it's not meant to be taken that seriously, but winning is always really nice, isn't it? Next up, teaming up. Do you need a full squad to dominate, or can you cope? Solo. Well, if you run solo, just know that you're going to be in for a mixed bag of games. It could be good, it could be terrible, as you're going to be filling in with either squads or all solo players, or topping up those pre-made groups. If you run a full squad, you're probably going to be matched against other full squads, and that can often get pretty sweaty, so it really does depend what you are after. I find that running with a group of 2 to 3 players, friends, gives me the best return on quick matchmaking and enough support in game that you can usually have a decent or strong influence. After all, you're making up about half of your squad. On the other hand, you still rely on the randoms in your group to be semi-competent to ensure you're actually an effective team. And that's always an unknown quantity. Competitive or ranked, as I said before, you actually don't need to join as a pre-made to participate, but obviously people who do have some advantages. Interestingly though, I have several friends who have played through several seasons of Overwatch, and they now say that they're just playing quick play or other game modes for fun, because they say competitive, like I said, it's an option for people to join in, but the rewards are pretty minimal, like I said, and it really just depends on if doing ranked is your kind of thing. What I always find is that once you get into ranked or competitive, once you're in there and you've already invested some time, you don't want to lose that ranking, and then they've got you, you're in and you're sucked in and you're locked in essentially into doing that kind of thing. And that's why I don't really want to go near it, because it's like once you start putting that time in, putting the hours in, it's very difficult to kind of mentally break out of that, and I don't want to get caught up with it. There's a lot more to be said for Overwatch, but as an overview, that's pretty much all you need to know. But let's lastly just touch on cosmetics. They are one of the really fun parts of the game, as Overwatch is a game bursting with aesthetics. You can earn currency by playing matches and opening loot boxes you gain as you progress. You're also going to get unlocks through loot boxes again, either from progress, special events, or you can of course just purchase them. You honestly gain loot boxes pretty decently from the game itself without purchase, and all the items are completely cosmetic elements. Now, despite my general disdain for loot boxes that I've spoken about at length, Overwatch still probably handles them in the least insidious way. They certainly have zero effect on the game itself beyond just how shiny you want to be. And I already have multiple special skins, some gold top end skins from event boxes, and just the game itself. So the best skins also, they're not locked into purchase boxes either. That's a good thing also. From the credits you earn in game as well, you also can just choose and select and save up and purchase skins that you like from any of the heroes. So again, it's not locked into boxes to get a certain thing, it's not randomized. So you can make some good selections if you have favorite heroes and you just want to get those guys early on. Blizzard has plenty more development ready for Overwatch, so if you haven't tried it or were unsure previously, I would say this is a good time to get in on it. The community as well is largely pretty decent. There was a spiral of toxicity that was widely covered, but Blizzard again have done a decent job trying to get a handle on that. Their reporting system is really easy, they do follow up strongly on people who are really abusive in their games, and lastly, let's just then talk about general UI and overall design of the game. It's clean, solid, and makes sense. Meeting new people, adding friends through recent players, you can squad up easily midway through a round with random people. It's all intuitive and logical. So Overwatch is half price now until January 2nd. I do recommend you check it out. If you enjoyed this video guys, as always, please drop a like. This is Luton.